All right, let's go through the dashboard in CoachRx. So the dashboard is going to be your workflow hub in the system. So we've built, we've rebuilt, and we will continue to refine this thing over time, because we do believe that because you're sitting here, right? Like this is the hub that you go to every time you land on in your account in CoachRx. Like, we need to continue to refine this and make this dashboard the most useful experience. Okay, so in a couple months, some of the things that I'm saying right now might be outdated, but bear with me. I'm going to talk about what's in there right now and how to best use those features. Okay, so let's go through this the best way that I know how, and that is section by section. Okay, so let's start at the top and let's hit needs attention. So CoachRx will ping you whenever you have workouts due, lifestyle prescriptions due, consultations due, 2 missed workouts in a row. So anytime a client misses 2 workouts in a row, they'll show up here. 2 lifestyle RXs were missed in a row, or low exercise, as well as lifestyle compliance. Okay, so CoachRx will generate a needs attention message for an individual client in this section whenever any of those pieces are hit. Okay, so when you see those notifications, you do have a few options. So option number 1, you can click on that client's name and that thing will kind of scroll down and you'll be able to see the last month of program design, not of program design, but the last month of what they've done in program design. So how many days have they missed? How many days did they hit? And you'll see that with just like green and red. Okay, so you'll get a quick overview, like over the last month, how compliant are they by day throughout the week. Okay. The next thing that you can do inside of that after hitting that is looking at some other pieces there, right? So some of this might be relevant or some of it might not be relevant depending on what the needs attention notification was. Okay, so you can see things like how many total workouts have they done, what is their best overall streak, and then you can see their specific exercise compliance as well as their specific lifestyle compliance. Okay, you can also hit that little message bubble and you can just send them a direct message. Okay, so if that needs a notification nudge calls for you reaching out to them, just go ahead and do it right there from the dashboard. You can also snooze that notification until tomorrow. So if it's like, okay, cool, I get it, they missed 2 workouts in a row, I ping them, let me just snooze that so that goes away. They'll come back up tomorrow if they miss another one, of course, but if everything's all good, they'll just disappear. So you can snooze those notifications until tomorrow. You can also go to their calendar. So if someone missed 2 workouts and maybe they messaged you and they said, hey, I can't get to the gym today and I'm not going to be able to tomorrow either, you can go right to their calendar and just shift some days around, adjust their training accordingly. Or if you think that the notification is irrelevant, you can edit the coaching services that you offer for that individual client. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If someone's consult is due and you get a needs attention notification because their consult is due, you can just click those 3 little dots and just turn off consults because you don't do consults with them, so you don't need to be notified. So the system will recognize that you don't do consults with them and then they will take them away from that needs attention section. Okay, so that's needs attention. The next piece, which will be a quick one, is just my stats. So you'll have a 7, 30, and 90-day view of your key coaching metrics, mostly around compliance. So you'll have your exercise compliance over the last 7, 30, 90. You'll have lifestyle compliance. You'll have how many clients you have in your system, not from an organization level, but in your personal system in CoachRx. Okay, moving on down, next we have touch points. And this has always been my favorite feature. I just think it does such a good job in making sure and holding us accountable to actually communicate and actually connect with our clients. I think that's extremely important. So what is a touch point? So a touch point is counted every time you DM a client, comment on an exercise or a workout session, a lifestyle session, or anytime that you consult with that client. So you will receive 1 touch point for each one of those instances, and then keep in mind the touch points reset every week. So you're looking at this on a weekly cadence. So it's how often am I communicating with my clients on a weekly cadence, Monday through Sunday. And you'll notice that this is a scrolling bar from left to right. So if you reach that touch point goal, so if your touch point goal is 2 and you hit 2, that client will then go to the far right of that, and then the ones that you have not met that goal yet, they will be prioritized to the left. Okay, so an easy visual, if they have a green circle with a check mark, that means that you've hit your touch point goal with them. this is something that's, not to beat a dead horse here, but this feature can be extremely beneficial, right? Like when we dig into the back end of CoachRx, what we realize is that we see a very direct correlation of number of touch points in compliance. So we don't see a huge difference in compliance across the board when coaches are reaching out one time or even 2 times, but when we have coaches that are consistently pinging and communicating with their clients 3 and 4 times, we see compliance rates go up compared to the 1 touch point. We see those compliance rates go up by 25 or 30% on average. So that just tells us like, hey, there's a correlation there. That correlation is really clear. We think that there's something good there. But there can be some diminishing returns. Like if you're pinging your client 35 times a week, I don't know if that's going to help compliance. We'll get back to you on that. All right, the next piece is tasks. Okay, so we like this feature a lot because it allows you to create tasks, add due dates, and assign clients to these tasks. And this is the definition of organizing your workflow. Okay, so what are some examples of this? Maybe I have a consult with a client and that client is like, hey, I'm going to upload my InBody into my notes my InBody results into my notes next week. I could put a note that says, okay, check InBody results next Friday. Or I have a client that's like, hey, going on vacation in 2 weeks, but I still want you to design my training program. This is the equipment that I have. You can just add a task instead of going in and designing their program right there, where it's like, design Sally's, program for, Mexico in 2 weeks, wherever the case is. So there's a lot of use cases, but it's really cool because it's organized by due date. So it's essentially a check off, what do I have to do today, tomorrow, so on and so forth. And then once I complete that, it goes away and it goes into that completed task section. So really cool. Highly recommend you guys use that. And the last piece is the activity feed. So this is the latest info for workouts, lifestyle, and weekly check-ins. So this is a great spot when we talked about like organizing your schedule. Like this is a great spot if you have specific days where you're just communicating with clients. It's like, I'm going right to this activity feed. I'm just going to see what's going on in exercise and lifestyle and all these weekly check-ins, commenting, maybe throwing some fist bumps or emojis on some results, stuff like that. Just that's a little bit of personality, right? Telling your clients like, hey, I'm actually watching, I'm looking at you, even though there was no comment on any of these. It's like, I'm reviewing, right? I understand. And this is just going to set you up to build better programs for the next week for that client because you're digging in and gaining context as they're going. So actionable step here. So what I would challenge you to do is just to review your dashboard and ensure your client's coaching services settings matches the services that you actually provide to those clients. So, there is a such thing as like information overload as well. The reason why I chose that as the actionable step is I want to avoid information overload on that dashboard. Okay, we want to make sure that that thing isn't like, 50 needs attentions long on every day, because what are you going to do? Sorry to say it, but you're probably going to ignore that on a daily basis. It's kind of like those weird people that have like 5,000 emails on their phone, like the notifications. I think you guys know what I mean. Don't be one of those people in CoachRx. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Next, we are going to dig into just some simple best practices in designing training programs in CoachRx.